good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuned in from. Welcome to another episode of What Now? It's the second one of the new year, 2021, and I hope everybody's ready because I have a whole lineup of amazing guests again. If you missed the one from Monday with Lydiana, you can watch those on my IGTV, as well as the ones from last year. I did a whole bunch of What Nows, and I have to say this is number 70. So yes, this is number 70 of the series. I took a break in December. I would have probably been almost to 100 if I went on the way I went in the beginning. I started in March, but yeah, I took a break. I slowed down. I had to save myself for some, for some new interviews and for some new guests. So well, I see that Ray is already in here. There's not a lot of people in here yet, so I'm hoping that Instagram is letting everybody know that I'm live because it's going to be a fantastic conversation. I've been waiting on him to join me for this conversation. So I'm just going to put him in here already. Let me see. Welcome, everyone. What's up? Sisters, brothers, kings, queens, friends, family, whoever is tuned in. What's up, Mr. Angry?
Happening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a long time. It was a lot of coordinating and email addresses that were typed wrong. And yeah, there was a lot going on. It was all on me, but thank you for wanting to be a guest.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I see you. You got your piano and, you got everything in the back. You got your, the little situation.
This is my quarantine setup.
Oh, your quarantine setup. So you've been living there for a long time.
It's been great.
Yeah?
Definitely.
How did you kick off the new year? We're 13 days in now. How has it been so far?
It's been interesting. I started the new year playing piano. So I played into the new year.
Right.
I was here chilling by myself and just practicing. And, I wanted to, have this energy of growth and development. So I wanted to start the year off with that kind of energy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's I guess that set the tone for the new year, as I always say.
Yeah.
I had a great first 2 weeks, I guess. First week and a half, however you want to call it. But as you probably know, and most of the people that may tune in, and there's some new people coming in, I started this to motivate the creative people during the pandemic because the whole industry shut down. And so we're almost a year in. The time just flies like crazy. You are my talk number 70. Wow. And yeah, so I took a break in December, but I had to come back because people were longing for me to do these conversations. People needed it, and the pandemic is still going on. We just got another extended lockdown. What's up, Daryl?
Daryl Hunt, what's up, brother?
How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Oh man, Daryl's been so supportive of all my What Nows.
Daryl's great, man. Daryl, man, that's the homie. That's my frat brother too.
I think he told me that before, yeah.
Yeah, I'm U Alpha.
That's great. You know what? All these musicians, you guys all know each other. So anyway, so I started in March. We're almost a year further. We're not looking to get out of this lockdown anytime soon. But I'm still going to take it back now because when I started this, it was fairly new and people needed a lot of inspiration from people. And but they still do, and this What Now series is still new to a lot of people. They can look back at all the talks, but I want to ask you, Mr. Ray, how was it in the beginning of the pandemic for you? How did it affect you personally and professionally?
That's a great question. I'll give you an analogy. A sinkhole.
Yes.
When you see a sinkhole.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it was for me.
Oh, wow. That's very heavy.
It is. It was very heavy. And on top of that, not only was it heavy, and I also caught COVID.
Oh, you did? In the beginning? In the very first beginning? What month was that?
This was March.
So you were one of the first to catch it.
March, yeah. March, June-ish. maybe like
March, June-ish.
You know what? Actually, you know what? It was more like May. That's when it was. It was more like May when I caught it. Yeah.
And were you suffering from it like really bad, or were it
Oh my
mild
God.
symptoms? Were you really?
I felt like I was gonna die.
Oh my gosh, that's not good.
So keep it really 100. I felt like I saw my life flash before me, and I was really, really depressed because everything that I valued, you know, my gigs, you know, the event that I was doing on Mondays, Producer Monday, like pretty much everything that I had going on was done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was sort of like, it was this feeling of like, you know, of just being like say for example, if you're doing a production and you get fired from the production and they're like, hey, listen, we can't use you anymore, so
bye.
You know, it's pretty much what it felt like.
Yeah.
And it was very, very, very dark period for me. It was very depressing. And you know, I used to work out all the time. I stopped working out. I was eating whatever. I just felt like, why am I working out? I felt like the world was done. I felt like everything was, you know, watching the news, watching CNN every time, every day, religiously, seeing the numbers go up. It fucked my head up, you know?
Yeah, everybody.
And then getting into all the conspiracy theories, going down that rabbit hole. Then you're like, oh, you know, deep state, and they're doing this, and they're trying to control, you know, so going down that rabbit hole, you know, kind of fucked my head up. But something happened. Something happened where one day I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I was like, man, fuck this. Fuck, if whatever I lost, fuck it. You know, whatever gigs I lost, fuck it. I'm going to create, you know, create my own thing. And then at this point, I realized, man, I spent so many years being of service to so many different people, so many different bands. And I never put that time, I was never of service to myself.
Right. Yeah, because for the people that don't know Ray, he's played with the greatest of the greatest. And now it's his time.
It's kind of like, I was trying to figure out how to prepare for this, but you can't really prepare for an interview. But
no, because I'm not giving you regular questions.
Yeah. And you know, and it was interesting because here's the one thing I would say. The thing about wanting to become an artist or wanting to become someone that does music, it starts with this dream, or you see someone else doing something. And so when I was young, I always, you know, I got into music by accident. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, but my father saw that I liked playing the piano, and he really pushed me. You know, I didn't even want to do it, you know, and he put this idea in my head that I was great, you know, that I had.
But you are.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't think I was, and I actually didn't think that I would ever do anything with music, because I was around so many great musicians, you know what I mean? But a lot of, you know, I just felt like a really inferior, although at the same time I grew up playing classical music. So I was like the oddball. I was like the one black kid that was like, that could read music, and everyone else was playing by ear.
I can read music too.
You know,
I can read music too. People don't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I played the piano and I was reading music. So I could play piano reading music.
Yeah. And because I grew up in Miami, Florida, and so it's sort of like this journey of like, I just stumbled upon music, and then I had this dream of, oh man, you know, I want to live in New York and make music. But then I was so scared to move to New York. And when I graduated from high school, I went to Howard University. And so I had this dream of making it in the music industry, but it sort of happened by accident. You know what I mean? Even though I didn't believe that I could do it, I just kept doing it.
I want to stop you right there. And I love that you're telling the story, but I want to get to that a little bit later. So
Okay.
I want to take it back a little bit to, you know, you being very depressed, being in your sinkhole with the rest of the world about the pandemic, and then having that realization, you know what? I'm going to do music for me now. How long did it take you during that pandemic before you snapped out of that kind of depressed, dark period?
Um.
And we'll get back to your story, though.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's all yeah.
It all is one part. It's part of all the story. Yeah.
So George Floyd.
Yeah. So June. That was the beginning of June, end of May.
George Floyd, because during this time I was corresponding with Shirley Bassey's People, because I'm a huge fan of hers, and I wanted to do a song with her. So I had this song that I wanted her to sing, and I wrote this song with my friend Imani. And Imani, without her even knowing it, like just gave me life to want to like work on music again. And, you know, it's sort of like, you know what, actually, fuck this. I want to release music. You know, I'm being of service to myself. So then I started taking piano lessons again. Then I started really practicing. Like I was practicing like 12 hours a day.
Wow.
I was practicing so much that my hands were hurting. My back was hurting.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how much I was practicing. And then I started training. And so because of this song that I wrote called Welcome to My Life, Don't Shoot, which ended up being a release that I did with Imani, and BMG released it for me. Shout out to C. Greenberg and everyone over at Escort Records. And that was the beginning of me really waking up out of the depression.
Snapping out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the music gave me life. Then I was hopeful, and I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, I can make music for myself. Like, why do I have to worry about this gig or that gig? I can just create it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so which is, I think for an artist, it's hard to do, especially when you're an artist of service, or some people like to call a work bee.
Well, this is why I started this live, because I saw what you were going through around me. From people in the creative industry, artists that suddenly were completely depressed because all their gigs were canceled, their income was gone. There was just, I saw it in my friend circle. I mean, you're part of my friend circle. So for me, that really got me thinking, let's do this live. Because I had a talk with people about it. I was like, I need to bring this to the public, because we're all going through it. And if people hear their peers and their idols going through it and still finding ways to stay mentally okay and stay creative and inspired, that can trigger people to think different, because everybody's in their own little bubble. And so that's exactly why I started this live, not for any other reason other than to basically uplift each other and inspire each other, and basically having people feel like they're not alone, at least.
Yeah.
Because it's not even about, oh, well, I'm doing this and this and this and that, and I'm doing a million things during this pandemic, and I'm learning new skills. It's also about just making sure you're okay. It's not always about being productive. And being creative can mean different things. Like you as a piano player, composer, musician, you can also have thought to, I don't know, pick up a cooking class to stay okay. So, you know, because we can't go out to restaurants.
I'm really nice in the kitchen.
This is my point.
Yeah.
So, you know, so with that said, for you to now, you know, tell your story, it may inspire people that are still not knowing how to handle this, or maybe they did last year and now they're back at square one because everything is crumbling again, instead of, you know, looking up to you know, better times. There is no outlook on better times at this point. So we still have to be there to inspire each other and motivate each other. Talking about you picking up, you know, piano and being creative again and creating, that's on the professional side, and obviously that's your passion. But did your health routines change when you were staying home? Because I know you are a touring artist, so you know, how did that affect you having to stay at home in your health?
So it's great because you know, like you said, you know, when you're touring and you're traveling around the world, you're never at a place where you can sort of like collect your thoughts and meditate, because it's always go, 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 go here, go there. You know what I mean?
Quick food here and, you know, less sleep there. And...
yeah. And really, to a certain degree, really unhealthy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's kind of it's unhealthy lifestyle. So, so being forced to be at home allowed me the opportunity to really get to know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get to know what I like, you know? Huh?
Sit with yourself.
Yeah. So it allowed me the opportunity to meditate, to you know, do a lot more reading, a lot more studying. I lost so much weight that I threw away a bunch of clothes. I cleaned out my apartment. So now it's sort of like, it feels like a sanctuary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it allowed me the opportunity to do that. So it's sort of like a blessing and a curse at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay,
so now we're going back a little bit to the story where you had left off. You know, you were talking about moving to New York and really wanting to make it in the music industry. So you go up there, despite your fears and insecurities. What was for you your first, personally, your thought, not by any numbers or working with certain artists, what was for you personally your first moment of success where you were like, I can really make this my career as a musician?
You mean throughout my life? No,
in your career, like being a musician, being a pianist. You go into New York. At what moment in your life, in your career, did you think, this is not, yes, I can make it as a musician?
Okay.
I'm good enough.
This is going to be very funny. So I went to Howard University. I was 18. I was on scholarship, and then it was like my sophomore year, and this band was really popular at the time called Shy.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I get this call. I forget who called. I think
Did you work with Shy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Are you still in touch with Mark?
Oh, that's my man.
Because he's in Miami, right? Oh, he was from Miami. Yeah.
Well, he's from Miami. Yeah.
He's from Miami. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Mark Gay. Yeah, that's my man. That's my man.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that.
And I think Darnell called me. Darnell or Chris Dave. I think Chris Dave might have called me or something, because they were like, yo, they wanted a band from Howard.
Right.
So they called me to play keys, because I was like the guy on keys at Howard.
Right.
That was the moment, because I was in Japan. I was in we were in LA. I moved to LA for like a year, my sophomore year of Howard. So I basically dropped out of college.
Right.
And I went to LA, and I was in a limousine, and I was outside the apartment. They built us, they got us this apartment. We were staying at the Sherman Oakwood Apartments or something. I can't remember.
Mark lived in Sherman Oaks. So.
Yeah. And during this time, this was MCA Records. So the record company had like apartment buildings for their artists. So they had us in an apartment building, had us a car,
And wait, that wasn't the point of success yet for you when you were living out of limousines and artist apartments? What are you talking about?
I'm telling you. And then I called my parents from the limousine before I went to the apartment. I was like, hey, Dad, I'm in California. Like, I'm touring with this band. We're about to travel around the whole world. And I remember the first time I went to Japan, I was like 19. It's crazy. And we're playing before thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I remember being on stage, and it was the first time that I saw so many people looking at me performing, and I was like, oh shit, this is amazing, And that was the moment where, I mean, there's been so many like golden nuggets,
Yeah. But that was for you the moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I can actually make it as a musician.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, I got a taste of the road, but then I was like, man, I think I should go back to college. So during this time, imagine me, this young kid, I'm like talking to like bouncers, different artists. Man, should I go back to school?
This
or
is
should I stay on the
weird.
road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because, you know, because I was torn between education and like touring.
But you know what? I'll tell you that is actually a very how you say that, a very rare thing that happens when you're 19, you're touring with the biggest artists. Nobody thinks about going back to college because you think you haven't made already. So I think that's very commendable for you as a 19-year-old to think about, should I go back to college? That's give up this whole career and go back to college. That's insane.
Yeah, and that's what I did, you know, because when I left school, my teachers were like, oh, he's not coming back, you know. And so I've always had this notion, I'm going to prove you wrong. You know, because
that's motivation, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was in school, like I was a classical major when I first started at Howard.
Yeah.
But then I met Chris Dave and I saw Black
all of that. Yeah, all the whole clique with Daryl done told me about the whole clique. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I met those guys, you know, I'm seeing black kids playing jazz because you know I went to a school and I didn't see that many kids playing jazz, so it wasn't cool for me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like cool. But then I saw Chris and these guys playing, and I was like, oh shit, I want to do that. And I was not allowed to play jazz as a classical major. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to navigate that. But yeah, that was an amazing moment. You know, I went back to school after touring around the world. I went back to school and they were surprised. They were like, what are you doing here? And
so did you have to leave the the band, so to speak, as you know, being their regular pianist? Did you have to tell them, hey man, I gotta stop touring with you guys because I'm going back to college?
I mean, yeah.
Or were they finished with the tour and then you know?
I didn't leave mid-tour, but it was like once we had like done a couple tours, and the tours that kind of died down. Right. You know, it was like I was at the point where, do I stay in LA or do I go back to DC? And they still had gigs, and I would, still do gigs while I was in school. Yeah. But for the main part of 2004, I went back to school, and I was pretty much in school full time.
So okay, then you finished school. How did you pick it back up again? Like, how long did it take for you to after you finished school to really get back to that same point again of, I'm making it as a musician? Because, you got to get back in the game.
Well, here's the thing. So when I was in school, I was blessed enough to meet Yolanda Adams. And so I was working, while I was in D.C., I was working with Richard Smallwood. I was working with Yolanda Adams. I was playing around town. When the great thing about DC, a lot of musicians came through, so I was still connected. So I would go to the Blues Alley, and I would meet Wynton Marsalis, and I would meet these different people, and so I would talk to them. And my mentor, Mogul Miller, these guys, they knew I was in school, but they were sort of mentoring me as I was.
Still kept you on, yeah. Oh, you still kept relationships, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Relationships is everything.
The relationship is everything. People, write it down. It's one of the things that keeps coming back in all of the conversations I have. Yeah. So then you finished school, and what happened? What did you do right after? What was your first tour? Who did you play with first?
So I got my bachelor's, then I got my master's degree, then I moved to New York. And once I was in New York, actually the first kind of sort of major thing I did was this dude might not remember this, but Questlove.
Oh yeah.
So I got called to do a studio session with him for a commercial. I think it was for like Universal or something. So his manager at the time, Richard Nichols, had his assistant call me because they heard, oh, some new kid was in New York.
Yeah.
Oh, who's this kid? And so I met Amir, we did the session. I don't think anything happened with the song, but the manager liked me. He liked the fact that I went to Howard. He liked the fact that I could read music, that I had all these different things that I could do. And then somehow or another, Joss Stone came into the picture. She had her first recording album. And so that was my first major gig.
Wow, Joss Stone?
Mm-hmm. But I have to backtrack, because actually before the Joss Stone thing happened, I was actually got to go back. I was working with Michelle Ndegéocello, and I was touring with her. So it was me, Chris Dave, John, Cy Smith. It was like that was Michelle might not know this, but that was such an important gig for me coming out of Howard. That was actually the first major gig that I did coming out of Howard, was Michelle. And I took all that I knew, everything that was piano, and I had to transfer all of that to an electronic setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds and everything is, textures and what have you. So I learned so much from Michelle, and I was working with her. And then from there, I toured with Kelis. So the Milkshake song was, and I was her music director. And
I'm listening here and I'm thinking, so, because I can't remember what year we met, but we met when you were playing with the Roots. And so all these years you were coming here already with all these other people. Just didn't know you. That's so funny. So I probably had seen you already on stage somewhere. I can't remember for the life of me what year we met. Like 10 years ago, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe 2011, maybe.
Yeah. That is 10 years by now. So So I'm just thinking, like, because I'm very bad with years, and I guess I knew Tariq, so that's how I know everybody affiliated to the Roots, because I would always come to the shows. But I just remember that I met you there. But it's just really impressive to, and I want to give this out to people that are watching, for you to first of all, take a chance on, being a musician, even though you didn't feel like you were the best. You went to go and do it. Then you actually made it. And then you chose to go back to college while keeping yourself, in the music industry, whether it be through relationships or, whatever, and then come back and just pick up as if you never left. So let it be maybe some type of motivation for people that are not doing anything right now. You can always go back to college while we're riding out this pandemic, while you can still be creative, because everything is at home online anyway.
I'm a bit of a, I'm very optimistic, and I'm a bit of a dreamer. And I can honestly say this. When I was at Howard University, this was like things, the Roots' first album, Common, D'Angelo, George Clinton, who else? There were so many different artists that I was just like soaking up.
This is all the same artist I did.
I used to pray to God. I said, God, I want to travel all over the world, and I want to work with the best artists in the world, And I can honestly say,
you did that.
Every motherfucker that I was listening to in the 90s, I know now on first name basis.
That is just so inspiring. Like, and I don't want to talk about myself here, but I mean, I live in Amsterdam. I come from a small town outside of Amsterdam, and I have talked to the greatest of the greatest that I listened to in the 90s. I never knew I was going to do that, but I ended up talking to the EPMDs and the Rootses and the whoever's. So for me, I still got to think back of it like, well, how did I do that? I just did it because I tried,
it's crazy. Like I could be at Equinox and I'll be working out and I'll see Common, man, what up, Common? What up, man? Hey, what up? It's like fucks my head up sometimes, But I will say this, that, because a lot of people as you get older, you get sort of dry with your your belief system. It's sort of, everything sort of dries out, and you feel like,
So?
I think so sometimes, you know.
What do you mean with dry? Explain.
Like, you know, it's sort of like, hey, if you hadn't done it by this time, it's not going to happen. You know,
oh, hell
sort of,
no.
You know what I mean?
Not me. No.
Yeah. And
I am 42, and I still got things to cross off my bucket list.
you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's sort of like dreaming and having ideas and having a vision is so important that you give it life, because the things that you feed is what you're going to eat.
Yeah.
So if you live in a negative space, then that's all you're going to hear. You're going to just be like, oh, no one calls me for gigs, no one does this, or you know,
great John gigs. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Whatever. And so what you said is very true, because you know, you can set a goal for yourself, and then when you reach the goal, you should have another goal for yourself. And then when you reach that goal, you set another goal for yourself. There is no, for me personally, there's no end. And maybe I have to think a little bit more about what other goal I would have, but there's always something I want to do. Actually, there's a million things I want to do, but I know that I can't do them all at the same time. So I just have to choose one thing at the time, and I'm still doing
brick by brick.
I'm still doing 5 things at the same time, but it ties in together. So if you really sit there at, I don't know, age 45 and think to yourself, okay, I'm done, you might as well just die. And that sounds terrible, but come on, people. Or even if you don't have the goals, encourage others. You know, that's also a goal. Encourage others to live their goals. Or, you know, I don't know, just stay positive. Don't dry up.
Don't dry up. Exactly. Yeah.
So I want to go to, because we've heard a lot of your success. You toured with a lot of people. You've played with a lot of people and for a lot of people. So what are some, because this music industry is really, really hard. It's a hard industry. It's rough, you know, it can eat you alive and spit you out. What is for you the biggest mistake that you made in your career that turned out to be your biggest lesson that you now apply or give to others? It could be a few, but just mention one.
My biggest mistake? My biggest mistake that turned into a success?
Not necessarily success, but because you made that mistake, you now approach things different and, you know, and do a better job. Like, I don't know. Yeah. There's people that say, hey, I signed a contract and I didn't look at it. And, you know, now I look at contracts. Or, you know, I started working with people based off of friendships, and then it turned out to be nothing. Or, you know, I took a leap of faith in I don't know, doing something else, and that didn't work out, so I know not to do that. I mean, what to you is something that that really stands out that you did, and you're like, I should never do this again because I learned from it?
Man.
Or maybe you haven't made mistakes.
There's so many.
Oh.
There's so many things. I think what comes to the top of my head, I think I would say this as a safe answer. I think managing time.
That's a good one.
Time management is the biggest thing, and being organized, because you can miss a lot of opportunities when you're not organized and you don't manage your time very well. You know, or you don't call. I remember one time this is perfect.
Yeah, give me
I got a call to audition for Maroon 5.
Oh, wow.
But like, I didn't call back right away.
So you missed that opportunity.
Missed it.
And did you not call right back because you had problems managing time? You were like, oh, I have other things to do and I'm all over the place? Or
I was all over the place. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing this, I was I was here everywhere. Just doing too much.
Yeah.
Gig here, saying yes. I would say yes to all gigs. I would never say no. I would say yes, you know? And so I think that's, you know, time management would be something.
So you didn't have Simone at the time yet?
No.
I I had to look up her name. I'm like, oh, what's the lady? Because I wanted to thank her as well. But yeah, so this is a nice one. You did not have Simone yet.
I did not have Simone. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. One thing that I, as an artist consultant, see a lot is that creative people just want to be creative. They just want to do what they do. What's up, Liddy? And so, that's her, Moni Walk. Okay, hi. Hey, thanks, Simone. And so, yeah, that's something that I see with a lot of artists, that they just don't want to deal with structure, or, well, they don't want to deal with it, but they have to. So that's something that I do for artists, like a structureize for them, so make a timeline and strategy so they know exactly what to do, and prioritizing, because that's, you know, like you said, it's very important, because you can miss out on great opportunities.
Yeah. Being organized is something that I'm valuing more and more every day, you know, and actually having, and you mentioned a word that's very important, strategy.
Yeah.
You know, because from the times that I've worked with so many great artists, the commonality between all of them is strategy. Everyone is strategizing. Everyone's playing chess. And and it's, you know, now it's really great in hindsight to see how all of these artists that I've worked with become so successful. Yeah. Yeah.
So are you now applying that same type of way of working to your own music, being your own artist? Like you said, you've been in service of others. Now you're in service of yourself. So that meaning that you are also at the forefront as an artist. You're not just the musician, the pianist anymore. Have you now decided to also make a strategy for yourself on how to approach your releases and branding yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually in the process of figuring all of that out now. You know, I've been writing a ton of music. So, and doing a bunch of collaborations. So, so I've been like, and I'm still figuring out the strategy for the releases and developing my brand and developing what my vibe is. What am I figuring out? Okay, everyone's doing their thing. What can I add to
what
this?
Do you want?
Yeah. And so that's been my thing, is like, how can I best be me? Yeah. You know, and not someone else. Yeah. What can I add to it? So that's been my journey now. Because a lot of times you can, you know, see other people doing their thing, and you like, a lot of people mimic a lot of what people are doing.
There's no blueprint. I tell all the artists that I consult, just because somebody made it the way they went there doesn't mean that same road is going to get you to success. Doesn't work like that. There is no one way to success, or no set way for that. But what I find interesting in this conversation is I generally help up and coming artists, and you are one, but you have done so much and you have such an extended network in the industry. Do you feel like it should be easier for you to roll out your strategy, or should it be harder for you because of, you know, people now looking at you like, why don't you just stay in your lane and do what you do best? Why you want to be an artist? Well, how is that for you?
Well, for me, it's exciting.
Of course it is.
You know what I'm saying? It's exciting because it's not just me being an artist. It's me being a composer, being a producer, you know, being a songwriter. So it's sort of like all these things that I've already been doing with other people, I'm just doing for myself. So should it be easier? Yes, God, I want it to be easy. You know what I mean? But I think it's harder because, you know, you sort of have to put the pieces together, and you're your only motivating factor. So in that sense, it's harder because you don't have like, you know, I don't have like, you know, a whole roster of people who are like, yeah, Ray, you know, here, you know, let's do this on Monday.
But I would think with all the artists that you work with, that you at least get their co-sign on your projects, or easier. Like they would support you if you put it out. Like, hey, my man Ray put out something. They kind of like, you know, co-sign it at least.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
Well, honestly, or getting a co-sign from these big artists, that's more than the regular up and coming artist gets. Because
Yeah.
they're a nobody. Well, not a nobody,
Yeah.
but they're not known yet. They are somebody, but not known yet. Let me rephrase. Sorry, people. Everybody is a somebody.
But you know, the thing for me is, like I have the thing that I want to add is the projects that I'm working on. I want to create music that makes people want to, you know, feel like, man, okay, he did it. I know I can do it. I just want to give people hope, and I want to just, you know, there's so much like negativity and so many distractions. So I want the music that I'm making to give people love, you know what I mean? And so to make me feel like hopeful. So that's kind of been the approach that I've been using with writing music and the people that I've been working with. So I'm really excited about the music that I've been writing so far and the people that have played on some of the stuff that I've been doing. So it's still being worked out, but I'm really excited about it.
Well, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And I do want to say to the people that are watching, if you have questions for Ray, then feel free to put them in the question box. Now, I know I haven't been doing What Now since last year, so I haven't seen any questions pop up. So I don't know if that question button is still there or if it's not. So people let me know. If you see a question button, it should be below next to the comment box. You can put in your questions there if you have some, and I'll get to them when I can. I love the fact that you are writing specifically about giving people love, like songs that give people love, that make them feel like hopeful. And I think that music in general that comes from a passionate person is that person, or is that music already.
They don't see the question box.
Well, I have a question from somebody. So there is a question box. So maybe it depends on the device that you're on. Oh, this is a great question from actually my good friend and partner, Huip Schouten. Huip asks, how do you keep your creative flow to be consistent and always available when needed?
Okay, I saw that. So one thing I started doing, I think it's important to have a regimen that you do every day consistently. So for me, what helps me out is I wake up at 6:45 in the morning and I work out. That's the first thing I do.
I see your videos, man. You've been going at it. You're a beast.
Yo, listen, I am trying to look like fucking Hercules.
Listen, I thought you turned into a fitness guru when you gave up on the music.
Nah, but the thing is, this, like, being in music can be such an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I want to be the best version possible. I want to work out. I want to be able to, like, chat with people like Wynton Marsalis and discuss scores and discuss Puccini and Ravel, and you know what I mean? And also be able to, like, do a Spartan race and, do a triathlon or something. And because why is it you have to do music and you have to be unhealthy? Was it like, I don't know. For me, I'm that motivates me. So that helps me creatively. So
that helps you stay consistent.
Because consistency is everything. And also, like I play piano every day.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love about working with Amir, I love making music with him, is because he's so busy that whenever I make music with him, like, it has to be like, boom, all right, first take, okay, cool, all right, add strings or add this or whatever, cool, next song, boom, boom, boom. I don't have time to think and edit sounds and, like,
and be perfectionist. Yeah.
Being a perfectionist will destroy your creativity.
I've seen it around artists.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is being in the moment and capturing the moment and then moving on. that
So,
helps your creativity.
so let me ask you this. This is easy now because you're standing still, you know, you have time, you have a routine every day. Do you think it's going to be tough for you maintaining this when, let's say, the world opens up and you're touring again?
Nope.
Really? That's
No.
a very, very, how you say that? Confident no. And I like
Yeah.
that because that means you won't let that affect you, your routine.
You know why? Because for me, I have a vision for where I want my life to be, and I don't want to get caught in the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You know? If anything, I want to come up and then help other people come up. And so you have this this pool of creative people that are inspiring each other, that are changing the music, you know. And I think musicians are more powerful than they would like to believe, although musicians are really underpaid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a whole, like, the way the music industry is structured is like the musicians, people that make the music are paid the least.
Yeah. But it's about the music. And I never understood about producers either. Producers always are like the ones that are underpaid.
Yeah. And so, and I think in order to change that, the mindset of the musician has to change. You know, it's it can't be this, oh, I'm only worried about the music. Because I remember one time.
It's a business. It's the music business. It's the music industry. You are a musician. You're part of the business. So, yeah.
I remember I had this great lesson. I was working at this studio called Fight Club, and I was working with these producers. And this one guy wanted to sign me. And he was like, yo, man, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I mean, this guy, he works with, the top rap artists. They're making money, whatever. And he said to me, man, listen, I love your talent, but fuck your talent. Like, this is the music industry, da-da-da. He told me what the deal was, da-da-da-da-da. It's not personal. I want you to know I love your talent, but it's the music business.
Yeah.
It's music business.
Business, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think the mindset of musicians have to be on some business. It's like, not that, I don't know. So when you talk about business, I like when you see Kanye making shoes and doing fashion, and you seeing artists being multifaceted. It's sort of like, why the fuck not?
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's sort of like there has to be, you have to think outside the box. You know what I mean? So which is why I do the fitness, which is why I'm cooking. It's sort of like, why just do why box myself in and do just one thing that may or not satisfy me? Because once the tour is over.
I'm sorry, let me also tell you that we teach artists about the music industry. Artists need to see it as their business, their brand. But musicians are artists too. That's the art form. So I never understood why only the person in the forefront, the singer or the rapper or whoever, is the artist. Everybody on that stage is an artist. Whether they put out their own music. Well, you don't have to be an artist in the spotlight, but in all definition of, you are an artist because you are, practicing an art. So with that said, a musician should handle the business as well. Anybody in the music industry or any industry should know their business and how the industry works, no matter what industry you're in. And I'm not saying you have to be an expert on all the facets of the industry, but come on, you have to know how it works.
Yeah.
At least the basics.
Yeah. I think putting out product is like, you gotta put out product.
Yeah. You gotta keep releasing.
If you're a musician and you're not putting out product, only people that are musicians are gonna know about you.
Right.
So it's like, there's so many different layers and different levels of it. You know what I mean? But if you put yourself in a box, then that's what you're gonna be.
Exactly. You limit yourself in your own mind. So I definitely agree with you. Like, think outside the box and do what you think you can do and develop the skill and learn about it, research it. Okay, so I'm looking at the time. There's a couple more questions that I want to ask you. First of all, with this whole roster of famous people that you've played with, who was the most fun and enjoyable to work with?
I mean, that's not fair. That's not a fair question.
Well, name one of the many that you've had so much fun with.
Listen.
Okay, name an anecdote. Give me a fun anecdote from tour with an artist.
I mean, okay, I'll say this. First of all, I cannot leave here without saying, like, I had the most fun ever with the Roots. The Roots.
I see that.
Like,
they're crazy.
We laugh, we have so much fun, you know. If I'm like, I'm like the mad scientist. If I'm playing something, the mirror's like, ooh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? If I'm doing, we just have fun.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I had a blast with Kelis.
Yeah, I don't know her, so I don't know. I have no idea how she would be as a person because I never met her. So it's like,
yeah,
wow.
I used to have so much fun with Kelis, but then also I love working with Joss Stone. We had a great time, and Lauryn Hill. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't mention her. I mean, I've had so many great moments with her. Were
you here in Amsterdam with Lauryn as well?
Yeah.
So that was when Angie was doing the.
Yeah.
I was there. Did I see you there?
I know Angie.
Yeah, I know Angie. Angie's like, oh, me and Angie, yeah, we go way back too. Wow, yeah. That's crazy. Then I must have seen you because that was at the venue where I'm actually on the board of. So, but that's cool.
Yeah, the venue with all the reverb in the room. It have
the
DJ sets.
It's the Melkweg. The Melkweg. It was over there because I was with Angie. She got me in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane. Okay, so you've toured with a lot of people. It was fun. Who is still on your absolute bucket list to want to work with?
Bjork.
Oh wow, and her shows are crazy. So.
Motherfucking York. I'm obsessed with her. On my album Great Angry One, I wrote a song called Bjork City. Wow. which was like a flip and a half of all this full of love, because I recorded that as well.
Right.
But then I flipped the song that I flipped.
Yeah.
And it's called Bjork City. Yeah, I love Bjork. I love her sonic palette. And she explores melody in a way that just.
So. I love the fact that you knew exactly who to mention, because this is a question I ask everyone, and everyone's, oh, there's so many, or I don't know, and you just popped it right out. So have you reached out to her people? Have your people reached out to her people, or?
No.
Are you waiting for the right time?
I think I had it in through Cobalt, but I don't think that went anywhere.
Well, we're speaking into existence now that you will be working with her in the near future. That's what we're speaking into existence at this time.
No, what we're going to speak into existence is that I work with Bjork and we create a Grammy award-winning project.
Yes. And
that makes a lot of money.
Sell out stadiums all over the world. Adding that one, including
that
Amsterdam.
People's lives all over the world.
Yeah. Yes.
And we do a show in Amsterdam, and you're going to be there backstage like, yo, hey, this is great. I remember when we were on the show and we're talking about this.
I got 5 minutes left. There's a few more questions, and I'm just gonna get this one from Simone because she's been so great. What's your favorite vegan dish?
My favorite vegan dish is vegan tacos.
Vegan tacos, okay.
Tabitha Brown, oh my gosh, she's amazing. You take pecans, mushrooms, green peppers, red peppers, you put them in a food processor, you season it with whatever you want, and once that's done, then you make your vegan cheese, which is cashew nuts.
Cashew nut, yeah.
And nutritional yeast, and then you season that with whatever you want. Put down the food processor, that's your cheese. You have your lettuce, you put that bad boy on the lettuce, your vegan that becomes your your meat, the pecan.
Right.
So it has a really nice texture. And you put avocados on the lettuce. Oh my God.
Okay, listen.
Heaven.
I don't know if you've seen my baking live What Now. So end of December, I had celebrity chef Mr. Beck. And so we had a What Now, a special edition for the holidays where I was baking in my kitchen and he was baking.
What? I need some recipes.
It was, I can't cook for shit. I can't bake for shit. So everybody was laughing at me. And so now that I know you can cook, the next time maybe we can do another What Now when your project drops or something while we're cooking together. Me in my kitchen and you in your kitchen. Let's do it.
Really nice. Yo, listen, one thing COVID has gotten me is out of my comfort zone. Because now I'm playing a lot of classical. I'm playing more classical music than I was when I was in middle school. And the crazy part of this whole thing that I didn't mention is that wait, can you see this scar?
Yeah, I can. What happened?
I broke my wrist.
How? When? Where?
I was riding my bike in the city.
You were trying to do Hercules
I was actually working. I was working out with my friend DJ Nebraska. Shout out to her, the homie. And I was riding my bike into the city and I lost control and I fell down and I was like trying to catch my fall and I broke my wrist.
Oh, wow.
This was 2019. I broke my wrist June of 2019. I had a Roots gig that weekend.
Oh, no.
I got patched up, got a cast, and I went on tour with the Roots, and I toured the whole summer and played the show with one hand.
Wow.
I was playing shows with the Roots with one hand, and
I
now
tip my hat to you, sir.
And now it's crazy because I was so determined to get my strength, get my fingers back. Now I'm playing more classical music than I was when my hand wasn't broken.
Well, hey, goes to show, don't let anything stop you.
Yeah.
As the minutes are counting down, okay, what is one last advice or a life motto that you have for the people that are watching? I know you threw down a lot of, gems and knowledge and valuable information, but what is something that you live by that you want to give out to everybody watching?
I think the most important thing is to live unapologetically, believe sternly in yourself, be a person of integrity, be good to people, and people will be good to you.
Yes.
And give back, and be able to receive, but also be a giver.
Yeah.
So I think, and also having a vision, knowing exactly what you want and going for it.
Yeah.
And don't let anyone stop you or discourage you, because there are people that are dream killers. They're vibe killers. You know what I mean? And they'll tell you, oh, you can't do that. Or why are you working out? Or why are you doing this? Or why are you dating that person? Or it's like, fuck out of here. I'm good.
And people say that because they can't do it. So they don't see you do it. So and I think you're a perfect example of even overcoming yourself, because you were the one that said, maybe I can't, maybe I'm not good enough. And you still fought yourself on that. Like, you know what? I'm going to prove myself wrong. And you went
I was
and did
my
it.
own worst. I can truly say that I was my own worst enemy.
You were blocking yourself. Yep.
Yeah. And COVID definitely shook me up, and I was like, oh, you know what? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to die when I had COVID. It was like terrible.
Well, I had the swine flu years ago, and I had the same feeling. It was horrible. I was down for 3 weeks, and I just wanted to die. I was like, God, just take me already, because I'm done. But yeah, I'm still here. You're still here. Yeah. We're still living out our blessings and our purpose. So
thank you for having me. This has been
thank you for coming pleasure. On. I just want to thank you for being such a great musician, because music, my dad was a musician, so I live for live music and live instruments. Is that I played the piano and the guitar. And so thank you for inspiring everyone around you. Thank you for motivating us. Thank you for sharing that you were in a sinkhole and came out of it. Thank you for basically telling everyone to just keep going, and for sharing your vegan taco recipe. And yeah, just thanks for coming on my little show.
Thanks for having me. Shout out to JMI. They released my album Ray Angry One.
Awesome. Thanks, JMI.
Yeah.
And thank you, Simone, for facilitating this and helping us in
Yes.
making this happen. If you need anything from me, let me know. If the next project drops, let me know. We're going to be cooking and talking. And
Yes.
yeah, and just we'll be in touch and stay at it. Stay creative.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
So people, that was the amazing Ray Angry. If you don't know him, please check out his work, and his resume is insane. I put it on my little promo flyer. Thank you for tuning in again this Wednesday, and I'll be back on Monday with amazing producer Drawzilla, and I got a whole bunch more people lined up until the end of February already. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day if it's still daytime over there. Have a great night if it's nighttime if you tuned in. And stay safe, stay healthy, and stay creative. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.